Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. Now this is part 6 of the series where I show the 10 worst songs from my 10 favourite artists, and this time it's The Jam. Now I got into The Jam quite late. It was actually 1981, so it had already been going for 4 years, and the reason I got into them was I bought 6 singles, Jam singles, from my brother's friend. And they were In the City, The Modern World, Strange Town, When You're Young, Going Underground, and Start. I bought them at a very, very cheap price. Now I knew a few singles by The Jam. I knew All Around the World, actually knew In the City as well. I knew Eating Rifles, Going Underground, Start, and That's Entertainment. But whenever I got those 6 singles, I played them constantly and I became obsessed by The Jam. So I started buying all their albums and getting all the other singles as well, you know, that were available. And for about 2 years I was just jam mad, completely jam mad. And so that's basically why they get into my top 10. I still love them. I still think they're far better than the Style Council, who are far better than Paul Weller solo. So getting into the 10 that I think are the worst. Now, the way I always do this, number 1 is the worst song. Number 10 is the 10th worst song. And I will say some of these are okay, but whenever we hit the top 5, you know, I just don't really like them. So maybe a couple of surprises to start with, and the first one is from this album, The Gift, and this is the way The Gift originally came. And it is the track Carnation. Now Carnation to me is a little bit of a rip-off of A Man in the Corner Shop musically, and I always found it a little bit out of tune actually, especially whenever it comes to the little instrumental section. You know, a wee bit like Sexy Sadie by the Beatles always sounded a little bit out of tune, but it sounded good. Carnation I just think drags, and it's never been a favourite. I know Liam Gallagher covered it as a solo single, his very first solo single, and didn't improve on it at all. It's alright, but it's just not one of my favourites. So it gets number 10. And number 9 is actually a single, and it's the last single, Beat Surrender. Now I think this is the Jam's worst single, so you're not going to get any more singles on this list. However, the reason I'm not that keen on this, 2 reasons. I don't like the so-called rousing chorus, come on girl, come on boy, succumb to the beat, surrender. I think he could have done better. The music is actually quite good, but he does struggle singing the high parts in this, and to me it's never been a favourite and by far the weakest. Now, A Solid Bond in Your Heart was also considered over this, and in a way I'm glad that they didn't pick A Solid Bond in Your Heart, is it because whenever the Style Council did it, I thought they did it brilliantly. So number 9 for me is Beat Surrender, a number 1 hit straight in 1982. And at number 8 we have from Sound Effects, and it's the last track, Scrape Away, which is a very bass heavy, nothing wrong with that, but it's almost one of those narration tracks, and I think it's a little bit of a dirge, and it's quite repetitive whenever he's singing You Who, Scraping Away. And to be honest, every time he sings that I get a little thought of a tube, a yellow coloured tube of glue called Yoo-hoo in my head. I've always done it, can't stop it, but it annoys me. But it's okay, but to me this is the weakest track off the album. It sounds a little bit like Set the House Ablaze, but nowhere near as good. So at number 8 is Scrape Away. At number 7, and it is from This Is the Modern World, and it is In the Street Today. And this is quite repetitive, it's very short, luckily it's very short, and it is a bit of a throwaway to be honest. It's the opening track of the second side. It's okay, but it's just nothing special at all, and it gets my number 7. And I know they did actually perform this on the Old Grey Whistle Test, but no, it's alright, but number 7 for me. At number 6, and we have a B-side, and it's the B-side of News of the World. well, it's one of the B-sides of News of the World, and it's the Bruce Foxton song Innocent Man, which starts off quite acoustically and it always reminds me of something else. But this to me is not a bad song. I just have a problem with Bruce Foxton's lead vocals. The music in this is alright. It's just the way that the melodic style vocals of Bruce Foxton I just do not think work with the jam. He's really good as a backing vocalist, obviously a fantastic bass player, and he's not a bad songwriter. However, I think if Paul Weller had sung this, it would have been much better. And it's a B-side it was never going to get on an album, put it that way. The B-side is the best it could do. So at number 6 is An Innocent Man. At number 5, and we go back to This Is the Modern World, and it is the track London Traffic, another Bruce Foxton song. And same thing again, musically it's actually quite good, but it's his vocals I just can't really get with at all, and it's a bit of a throwaway song really. So London Traffic gets my number 5. It's a little bit of an environmentalist song like London Traffic, polluting the air and so forth, but the lyrics aren't great. So number 5, London Traffic. And number 4, and we have From the Gift again, and it is Trans Global Express. And I hated this whenever I first heard it. I don't really like it now, but it's not as bad as what I thought, but it still gets in the top 5 for me. And this is another one of those narration songs. The music is very good, full of horns, but Weller's vocals are really muffled in the background. You haven't a clue what he's singing. And ba 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 bit just gets on my nerves. Now those ba-bas, he uses them quite a few songs, but it's only in this one I just can't stand them. So Trans Global Express at number 4 for me. At number 3, and I'm not picking on this album because it is a good album, but whenever it's bad, and it's the other Bruce Foxton one, Don't Tell Them You're Seeing, exactly the same as before. Although this one is a very jerky song, it sort of goes off in all different directions. Musically it's actually quite good, but it's the vocals again, and the phrasing and the way the melody goes around the vocals, it just doesn't work. Again, it would be a better song if Paul Weller sung it, but this is one of the quite longer ones and it's not fantastic, so it gets my number 3. And at number 2, and again we go back to The Gift, and it's the title track, The Gift, and a lot of people would have thought I was going to pick Circus, but no, I really do like that because there's no vocals. But the title track itself attempts to be very catchy, and it just doesn't work. So it doesn't. It's very flat. I think it's one of the flattest songs Paul Weller has ever written. I believe it was influenced by one of the tracks from the Small Faces second album. I can't see it at all, but it's he played it live and it's not great live either. I'd never liked it, and it's my number 2. So my least favourite Jam song, and it's from Beat Surrender single again, and it's the B-side, Shopping, which is a sort of medium paced jazz number which the Style Council would have done a better job of, and it's just a silly song and I just don't like the sound of it. It's that jazzy sound. You know, this would probably fit well on Cafe Blue. Funny enough, I do like that album. This would fit well on it, but as a Jam song, no. And to me it's definitely the worst single because it's got the worst A-side and the worst B-side. The only thing I will say about the Beat Surrender single is that they also, I showed this earlier, released it as a double pack, and with the double pack you do get some really good cover versions like Move On Up and Stoned Out of My Mind. Less said about War the better, but yeah, Shopping, worst Jam song. Okay, that's me for now. I hope you enjoyed that, and I should have another video quite soon. All the best now. Bye bye.